My liege, O God commends him to your majesty. Always said, his tongue's now a stringless instrument. Words, life and all, old Lancaster hath spent. Be York the next that must be bankrupt so, till death be poor, it ends a mortal woe. The ripest fruit first falls, and so doth he. His time is spent. A pilgrimage must be, so much for that. Now for our Irish wars. We must supplant those rough, rug-headed kerns which live like venom where no venom else, but only they have privilege to live. And for these great affairs do ask some charge. Towards our assistance we do seize to us the plate, coin, revenues, and movables, whereof our uncle Gaunt did stand possessed. How long shall I be patient? Or how long shall tender duty make me suffer wrong? Not Gloucester's death, nor Hereford's banishment, not Gaunt's rebukes, nor England's private woes, nor the prevention of poor Bolingbroke about his marriage, nor my own disgrace, have ever made me sour my patient cheek, or bend one wrinkle on my sovereign's face. I am the last of noble Edward's sons, of whom thy father, Prince of Wales, was first. In war was never lion raged more fierce, in peace was never gentle lamb more mild, when was that young and princely gentleman. His face thou hast, for even so looked he, accomplished with the number of thy hours. But when he frowned, it was against the French, and not against his friends. His no hand did win what he did spend, and spent not that which his triumphant father's hand had won. His hands were guilty of no kindred blood, but bloody with the enemies of his kin. Oh, Richard, York is too far gone with grief, or else he never would compare between. Why, uncle, what's the matter? Oh, my liege, pardon me if you please. If not, I, please not to be pardoned, am content with all. Seek you to seize and gripe into your hands the royalties and the rights of banished Hereford? Is not Gaunt dead, and does not Hereford live? Was not Gaunt just, and is not Harry true? Did not the one deserve to have an heir? Is not his heir a well-deserving son? Take Hereford's rights away, and take from time his charters and his customary rights. Look not tomorrow, then ensue today. Be not thyself, for how art thou a king, but by fair sequence and succession? Now, afore God, God forbid I say true, if you do wrongfully seize Hereford's rights, call in the letters patents that he hath by his attorneys general to sue his livery and deny his offered homage, you put 1,000 dangers on your head. You lose 1,000 well-disposed hearts, and prick my tender patience to those thoughts which honour and allegiance cannot think. Think what you will. We seize into our hands his plate, his goods, his money, and his lands. Now not be by the while, my liege, farewell. What will ensue whereof, as none can tell, but by bad courses may be understood that their events can never fall out good. Go, Bushy, to the Earl of Wiltshire state. Bid him repair to us to Ely House, to see this business. Tomorrow next we will for Ireland, and 'tis time, I trow, and we create in absence of ourself Uncle York, Lord Governor of England, for he is just, and always loved us well. The Duke of Lancaster is dead, and living too, for now his son is Duke, barely entitled, not in the revenues, richly in both, if justice had her right. My heart is great, but it must break with silence, ere it be disburdened with a liberal tongue. Nay, speak thy mind. Let him ne'er speak more that speaks thy words again to do thee harm. Tends that thou wouldst speak to the Duke of Hereford? If it be so, out with it boldly, man. Quick is mine ear to hear of good towards him. No good at all that I can do for him, unless you call it good to pity him, bereft and gilded of his patrimony. Now afore God, 'tis shame such wrongs are born in him a royal prince, and many more of noble blood in this declining land. The king is not himself, but basely led by flatterers, and what they will inform merely in hate against any of us all, that will the king severely prosecute against us, our lives, our children, and our heirs. The commons have he pilled with grievous taxes, and quite lost their hearts. The nobles have he fined for ancient quarrels, and quite lost their hearts. And daily new exactions are devised, as blanks, benevolences, and I wot not what. But what, O God's name, doth become of this? Wars have not wasted it, for warred he hath not, but basely yielded upon compromise that which his noble ancestors achieved with blows. More hath he spent in peace than they in wars. The Earl of Wiltshire hath the realm and farm. The king's grown bankrupt like a broken man. Reproach and dissolution hangeth over him. He hath no money for these Irish wars, his burthenless taxations notwithstanding, but by the robbing of the banished duke, his noble kinsman. Most degenerate king! But, lords, we hear this fearful tempest sing, yet seek no shelter to avoid the storm. We see the wind sit sore upon our sails, and yet we strike not, but securely perish. We see the very wreck that we must suffer, and unavoided is the danger now, for suffering so the causes of our wreck. Not so. Even through the hollow eyes of death I spy life peering, but I dare not say how near the tidings of our comfort is. Yea, let us share thy thoughts, as thou dost ours. Be confident to speak, Northumberland. We three are but thyself, and speaking so, thy words are but as thoughts, therefore be bold. Then thus, I have from Le Port Blanc, a bay in Brittany, received intelligence that Harry, Duke of Hereford, Reynold, Lord Cobham, that late broke from the Duke of Exeter, his brother Archbishop late of Canterbury, Sir Thomas Erpingham, Sir Tom Ramsden, Sir John Norbury, Sir Robert Waterton, and Francis Quint, all these, well furnished by the Duke of Britannia with 8 tall ships, 3,000 men of war, are making hither with all due expedience, and shortly mean to touch our northern shore. Perhaps they had ere this, but that they stay the first departing of the king for Ireland. If then we shall shake off our slavish yoke, imp out our drooping country's broken wing, redeem from broken pawn the blemished crown, wipe off the dust that hides our sceptre's guilt, and make high majesty look like itself, away with me, and post a Ravensburg. But if you faint, as fearing to do so, stay and be secret, and myself will go. To horse, to horse! Urge doubts to them that fear. Hold out my horse, and I will first be there. Madam, your majesty is too much sad. You promised when you parted with the king to lay aside life-harming heaviness, and entertain a cheerful disposition. To please the king I did. To please myself I cannot do it. Yet I know no cause why I should welcome such a guest as grief, save bidding farewell to so sweet a guest as my sweet Richard. Yet again methinks some unborn sorrow, ripe in fortune's womb, is coming towards me, and my inward soul with nothing trembles. At some thing it grieves, more than with parting from my lord the king. Each substance of a grief hath 20 shadows, which shows like grief itself, but is not so. For sorrow's eye, glazed with blinding tears, divides one thing entire to many objects, like perspectives, which, rightly gazed upon, show nothing but confusion. Eyed awry, distinguish form. So your sweet majesty, looking awry upon your lord's departure, finds shapes of grief more than himself to wail, which looked on as it is naught, but shadows of what it is not. Then, thrice gracious queen, more than your lord's departure weep not, more's not seen. Or if it be, 'tis with false sorrow's eye, which for things true weeps things imaginary. It may be so, but yet my inward soul persuades me it is otherwise. Howe'er it be, I cannot but be sad, so heavy sad, as though on thinking on no thought I think makes me with heavy nothing faint and shrink. 'Tis nothing but conceit, my gracious lady. 'Tis nothing less. Conceit is still derived from some forefather grief. Mine is not so, for nothing hath begot my something grief. Or something hath the nothing that I grieve. 'Tis a reversion that I do possess, but what it is, that is not yet known. What I cannot name, 'tis nameless woe, I wot. God save your majesty, and well met. I hope the king is not yet shipped for Ireland. Why hopest thou so? 'Tis better hope he is. For his designs crave haste, his haste good hope. Then wherefore dost thou hope he is not shipped? That he, our hope, might have retired his power, and driven into despair an enemy's hope, who strongly hath set footing in this land. The banished Bolingbroke repeals himself, and with uplifted arms is safe arrived at Ravensburg. Now God in heaven forbid! Ah, madam, 'tis too true, and that is worse. The Lord Northumberland, his son young Henry Percy, the lords of Ross, Beaumont, and Willoughby, with all their powerful friends, are fled to him. Why have you not proclaimed Northumberland and all the rest revolted faction traitors? We have. Whereupon the Earl of Worcester hath broke his staff, resigned his stewardship, and all the household servants fled with him to Bolingbroke. So, Green, thou art the midwife to my woe, and Bolingbroke my sorrow's dismal heir. Now hath my soul brought forth her prodigy, and I, a gasping new-delivered mother, have woe to woe, sorrow to sorrow joined. Despair not, madam. Who shall hinder me? I will despair and be at enmity with cozening hope. He is a flatterer, a parasite, a keeper back of death, who gently would dissolve the bands of life, which false hope lingers in extremity. Here comes the Duke of York, with signs of war about his aged neck. How full of careful business are his looks! Uncle, for God's sake, speak comfortable words. Should I do so, I should belie my thoughts. Comfort's in heaven, and we are on the earth, where nothing lives but crosses, cares, and grief. Your husband he is gone to save far off, whilst others come to make him lose at home. Here am I left under Proper's land, who weak with age cannot support myself. Now comes the sick hour that his surfeit made. Now shall he try his friends that flattered him. My lord, your son was gone before I came. He was? Why so? Go all which way it will. The nobles they are fled, the commons they are cold, and will, I fear, revolt on Hereford's side. Sirrah, get thee to Plassey, to my sister Gloucester. Bid her send me presently £1,000. Here, take my ring. My lord, I had forgot to tell your lordship. Today as I came by, I called there, but I shall grieve you to report the rest. What is it, knave? An hour before I came, the Duchess died. God for his mercy! What a tide of woes come rushing in this woeful land at once! I know not what to do. I would to God, so my untruth had not provoked him to it, the king had cut off my head with my brother's. What, are there posts dispatched for Ireland? How shall we do for money, for these wars? Come, sister, cousin, I would say, pray pardon me. Go, fellow, get thee home, provide some carts, and bring away the armour that was there. Gentlemen, will you go muster men? If I know how or which way to order these affairs, thus thrust disorderly into my hands, never believe me. Both are my kinsmen. The one is my sovereign, whom both my soul and duty bids defend. The other again is my kinsman, whom the king hath wronged, whom conscience and my kindred bids to right. Well, somewhat we must do. Come, cousin, I'll dispose of you. Gentlemen, go muster up your men, and meet me presently at Berkeley. I should to Plassey too, but time will not permit. All is uneven, and everything is left at 6 and 7.